Hi, parents and students. I'm Mrs. Rose Hill, and today we're going to be doing a deep dive into one of the most common questions families face during course selection. Should my student take on-level or advanced RLA? In this episode, we'll break down the differences, look at expectations, and give you the tools to make an informed, confident decision. Let's take the guesswork out and get to the good stuff. This is your RLA Deep Dive.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling something really important for a lot of families right now, choosing the right 7th grade reading and language arts path. RLA.
Yeah, it's a big decision, especially because in many cases, students can actually self-select. They get to choose on-level RLA or advanced RLA.
Regardless of how they did before, which is interesting.
Exactly. So understanding what really separates these two courses is, well, it's crucial if you're going to make an informed choice.
Absolutely. So our mission today is to break down the differences, the similarities between 7th grade on-level and advanced RLA. We want to help you figure out which path makes the most sense for a student's specific needs, their strengths, maybe their goals too.
Then we're looking directly at the source materials for this. The actual course syllabi for both 7th grade advanced RLA and on-level RLA. Plus, we've got the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills, the TEKS for 7th grade English Language Arts and Reading, and the district's year-at-a-glance planning doc.
Okay, so the official stuff. Let's start with the core idea behind each course, the philosophy. What's advanced RLA aiming for?
Well, the syllabus for advanced RLA talks about enhancing advanced reading, writing, and critical thinking. It uses phrases like variety of complex texts, delve deeper into literary analysis, and engaging with academic content at a higher level.
Okay, higher level, deeper. Got it.
And it also mentions refining above grade-level independence and collaboration. So the vibe is definitely challenging, but they do say supportive learning environment.
So the objectives probably reflect that. More advanced skills.
Precisely. The key objectives listed are things like strengthening advanced comprehension, enhancing writing style, not just basic skills, enriching advanced critical thinking, and refining above grade-level independence. See that pattern?
Yeah.
Advanced above grade level.
Okay, so it's setting a high bar. How does on-level compare then? Is it just
It's framed a bit differently. The on-level syllabus says it's designed to strengthen essential reading, writing, and thinking skills. The focus is more on building confidence as readers and writers and letting students engage at their pace.
At their pace. That sounds key.
It does, and it's also described as a supportive learning environment with many opportunities to grow and shine. So the objectives are about strengthening general comprehension, enhancing writing through structured practice, developing critical thinking, and encouraging independence, but maybe not pushing for that above grade level independence right away.
So the big takeaway here seems to be, it's not like they're learning totally different subjects.
Not at all. The difference is really in the degree, the depth, the complexity, how much independence is expected. It's not different skills. It's a different level of mastery and application of those same core skills.
That's huge, especially for that self-selection piece. Knowing you're choosing the intensity, not necessarily the topic. Okay, this next part I think might really surprise some people. Let's talk units and books.
Right, because when you look at the syllabi side by side, it's fascinating. Both the advanced and the on-level courses follow the exact same 6 units of study.
Exactly the same.
Identical. Literacy essentials, literary analysis of fiction and narrative nonfiction, drama and poetry, informational text, argumentative composition and rhetoric, and then synthesis, creation, and innovation. Same sequence, same topics.
And get this, the primary texts listed for those units, also the same.
Yeah, books like A Quick Note on Getting Better at Difficult Things, Towers Falling, My Side of the Mountain, See You in the Cosmos, they appear on both lists.
Which is pretty counterintuitive, right? You'd expect advanced to maybe have, I don't know, harder books. There were just more of them.
You might think so, but no. The core reading material is shared, and even the big final project, the passion project.
Both courses do it. Same idea. Apply reading, writing, research, presentation skills to a topic you choose. Yeah. And both mention accommodations for kids nervous about public speaking.
So the implication here is massive for making that choice. If the units are the same, and the main books are the same,
then the difference has to be in how they engage with that material.
Exactly. It's about the level of analysis, the complexity of the discussion, the sophistication of the writing expected about those same texts.
So, like, with My Side of the Mountain, maybe on-level focuses on plot summary, character traits.
Right, the what happened and who is Sam Gribley. Whereas advanced might push students to analyze, say, the author's use of imagery or the theme of independence versus interdependence, or maybe compare it to other survival stories.
Asking the how and why questions, not just the what.
Precisely. Deeper analysis, more nuanced interpretation, higher expectations for the output, the essays, the discussions. You're digging deeper into the same ground.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. So, same content, different depth. What about the workload outside of class? Homework.
There is a slight difference there, according to the syllabi. Advanced RLA expects students to read independently for 20-30 minutes several nights a week.
Okay. And on-level.
On-Level asks for 15-20 minutes several nights a week.
So maybe an extra 5 or 10 minutes a night for advanced.
Seems like it. Both syllabi also mention things like occasionally reviewing notes or vocabulary, maybe finishing up classwork at home, working on writing with guidance. That seems pretty standard for both.
That extra reading time. It might not sound like a lot, but day after day.
It adds up, and it signals a need for potentially stronger time management skills and self-discipline for the advanced course. It's a concrete difference in expectation.
So when you're self-selecting, you got to ask, is my student realistically going to do that extra 10 minutes of reading consistently? Not just can they read, but will they manage their time to do it?
It's a practical consideration, absolutely, beyond just academic ability. Okay, let's talk about the student traits. The syllabi actually list ideal characteristics, which is super helpful.
Yeah, this is like a checklist for thinking about readiness. What does it say for advanced?
For advanced, key differentiators are strong reading and writing skills, proficient independence, and willingness to participate consistently.
Proficient independence, that stands out.
It does. Then there are shared traits, things both courses look for: curiosity, effort, respect, responsibility, emerging time management, openness to support, positive attitude.
And on-level, what are the key traits there?
The specific ones listed for on-level are basic reading and writing skills and developing independence, and also a willingness to participate. The shared traits are the same as advanced.
Basic versus strong skills. Developing versus proficient independence. That's a pretty clear distinction.
It really is. It gives you, the parent or student, a lens to look through that isn't just about past grades. It's about work habits, skills, and sort of their learning personality.
Right. A student might have aced 6th grade, but if their independence is still developing, maybe pushing them into advanced where proficient independence is expected might be setting them up for frustration. Or maybe not. It's just food for thought.
Exactly. It prompts a more nuanced self-assessment, which is vital when the choice is yours to make.
Okay, moving on. What about how work is graded? Is advanced harsher?
Well, here's another surprise, perhaps. Both courses use what they call a mastery-based grading system.
Mastery-based, meaning?
It means the focus is on understanding and mastery of learning objectives rather than traditional point accumulation. So it's about showing you get it, not just racking up points.
And does that apply to retakes and stuff?
Yes. Crucially, both syllabi explicitly state that students get multiple opportunities to show their mastery, including retakes and revisions on assignments.
Multiple opportunities in both.
Yep. And they both mention allowing one retake on a summative assessment, like a big test, with a maximum score of 70% on that retake.
Ah, that 70% cap is interesting. A safety net, but not a way to just endlessly redo things for a perfect score.
Seems like it encourages learning from mistakes, but still values getting it right the first time. Even the late work policy, the 24-hour grace period, the deductions after that, it's identical in both syllabi.
The whole grading framework is shared. That's actually really supportive.
It is. It suggests that while the bar for what constitutes mastery might be higher in advance, needing deeper analysis, more sophisticated writing, etc., the system for demonstrating that mastery, including second chances, is the same for everyone.
So the challenge in advanced isn't coming from a stricter grading policy, it's coming from the complexity of the work itself.
That seems to be the case. The support structures are there in both classes.
Okay, last piece of the puzzle. The official state standards, the TEKS. How do they fit in?
Right. The Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills. Both 7th grade RLA courses, on-level and advanced, are built on the exact same foundation. The 7th grade English Language Arts and Reading TEKS. These cover listening, speaking, reading, writing, thinking, all interconnected.
And the TEKS have different types of standards.
Correct. There are readiness standards. These are the essentials, the really crucial skills needed for success in this grade and beyond. Think main idea, basic paragraph structure, things like that. They get the most focus.
Okay. And the others?
Those are supporting standards. They enrich the curriculum, add depth, but aren't considered quite as foundational as the readiness ones. Maybe analyzing specific literary devices or using more complex sentence structures.
So does advanced focus on different texts than on level?
Here's the kicker. No. We looked at the district's TEKS RS ELAR grade 7-year at a glance document. It maps out which standards are taught in which unit,
Yeah.
and it shows the exact same readiness standards and supporting standards being covered in each unit for both on-level and advanced tracks.
Wow. So again, same content foundation.
Absolutely. It reinforces everything else we've seen. The curriculum framework, the skills being taught, they are identical on paper. The advanced label comes purely from the depth you're expected to reach with those standards, the complexity of the text you use to practice them, and the level of independence you need to show while doing it.
That's like everyone's using the same swimming pool, same rules, same basic strokes taught by the TEKS.
But the advanced kids are expected to do more complex dives, swim faster laps, maybe explore the deep end more thoroughly, all on their own.
Okay. So pulling this all together for making that choice, especially with self-selection, what should parents and students really be thinking about?
Well, first, definitely look beyond just the grades from last year. Think about the student's actual approach to learning.
Like, are they genuinely curious? Do they like wrestling with a tough text or idea?
Exactly. Do they seek deeper understanding, or are they happy just getting the gist? Are they self-starters when it comes to reading or practicing skills, or do they need a lot of prompting?
And how do they handle challenge? Does a faster pace or a higher expectation energize them, or does it cause stress?
That's critical. And link that back to the homework difference. Is that extra 10-15 minutes of independent reading truly feasible and sustainable given their current habits and time management? Be honest about that.
Yeah, the work ethic piece is big. And comparing those ideal traits, directly proficient independence versus developing independence, strong skills versus basic skills, where does the student honestly fit right now?
It's about finding the right fit for growth. Some students thrive when pushed beyond their comfort zone. Others need that confidence built more gradually, mastering things at their pace, like the on-level description says, before tackling greater complexity. Neither is inherently better. It's about the individual learner.
And talk about it. Parents, students, maybe even last year's teacher if possible. Have an open conversation using these points: the traits, the workload, the comfort with depth versus pace.
Definitely. A teacher's insight can be invaluable. They see the day-to-day learning habits.
It's about finding that sweet spot, enough challenge to grow, but enough support to succeed and feel good about learning, not just chasing the advanced label if it's not the right fit for how that student learns best.
Because the goal isn't just to survive the class, it's to genuinely learn and develop a love for reading and thinking critically.
Okay, so let's wrap this deep dive. The big takeaway from comparing 7th grade on-level and advanced RLA, it's not about learning different things.
Yeah.
The units, the books, the core skills defined by the TEKS, they're largely the same.
The real difference lies in the intensity, the depth of analysis, the complexity you're expected to handle, the level of independence required, and that slightly higher homework expectation for reading in advanced.
It's the same pool, different expectations for how deep you dive.
Exactly. Which leads us to our final provocative thought for you, the listener making this choice. How does understanding that academic rigor often means deeper engagement with the same content, rather than entirely new content, empower a student to truly choose a path that challenges them appropriately for their individual growth?
How does knowing it's about depth, not difference, help them pick the lane that prepares them not just for 8th grade, but for a whole lifetime of learning and thinking critically? Something to consider.
Thanks for joining me on this RLA deep dive. Whether your student is leaning toward on level or ready to tackle advanced, the goal is growth, not perfection. Be sure to check out the syllabus for ways to contact me, TEKS, and guiding questions. If you found this helpful, share it with a fellow parent. Until next time, keep supporting, keep encouraging, and keep believing in progress over perfection.